And if I was ever asked, what is your best single example of why the European Union is not good for the United Kingdom, the answer was simple: the common fisheries policy. Why? Well, under the international law of the sea, as set down in 1976 and agreed across the world, any nation has 200 miles of its fishing waters as its own exclusive economic zone for it to manage itself, or the median line. So, OK, it's 12 miles off Dover, and that under law should be ours. But it's not, because we're part of the common fisheries policy with all the other European nations, and it divides fish stocks up on the principle of equal access to a common resource. And what I've seen over these years is an industry going frankly into terminal decline, a quota system that leads to discards, to the throwing back of dead or dying fish on an absolutely huge scale. So back in August, I went down to Ramsgate and I met Eddie on his fishing boat, the boy Joshua, and the aim of the trip was to find out the impact of the common fisheries policy on our fishing stocks, on his ability to earn a living, something all is set and regulated by the European Union. Here was Eddie. Just come out of Ramsgate Harbour. It's a lovely, lovely morning, and we're heading out with what is left of our fishing fleet in this country. I'm here with Eddie. Eddie, where are we going today? What are we trying to do?
We're going about 7 miles northeast of Ramsgate. We're trying to catch some skate and some lobsters.
But as I understand it, there's a bit of a problem with the number of skate you're allowed to catch.
Yes, I mean at the moment we're allowed to catch 375 kilos a month, but there is a real big problem. There's a lot more skate than the quota shows, really.
Yeah, and in fact what's happened is, and frankly round from sort of Norfolk, round to the Isle of Wight, there has been in the last few years a complete explosion in skate numbers. I, as a keen angler, know this. But isn't the truth of it that what you're having to do, whatever species you're trying to catch, you're catching skate? I mean, just explain to people, you're actually throwing stuff back dead, aren't you?
Absolutely. If we're fishing for soles or we're fishing for cod, all year round we're throwing skate away because unfortunately no one has developed a sign that the skate can read to say don't go in my nets.
So what we got here is something that I think anybody who thinks about sensible management or the environment has got to be horrified by. How many fish are you throwing back dead?
Quite a lot. Absolutely quite a lot. I mean, it depends. I mean, some we can get back alive, but at the end of the day, there are some that we can't get out of the net quick enough because there's that many of them.
I would love to see us actually stopping a policy where we chuck stuff back dead that could be sold in the market and actually could be quite good cheap food for people, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, skate used to be a very big catch for us up to about 2007. When our fishery department decided they were going to ramp up the rules and basically overnight try and destroy us. And I mean, there's just a few of us left now. I mean, we are a dying industry as it stands at the moment. When at the end of the day, we could be a nice little local profitable business, employing people and putting money into the community. And it's against good fish stocks in the sea that we're not allowed to target.
And this is the story that I think people don't quite get, is actually stocks of a lot of fish are remarkably good. I mean, herring stocks are very, very good. Skate stocks have literally exploded. And even cod, in the northern North Sea at least, even the scientists say now we've reached back to sustainable levels. But if we're not allowed through quota to catch the stuff, then frankly, people in this industry can't earn a living. Here we go. Skate, this is what we're after.
Absolutely.
But you can't catch too many.
No, and as you watch, you're going to say goodbye.
But that's a good eating fish. Why have you thrown that back?
Well, unfortunately, we have a quota for the month, and unfortunately, if we keep too many, we won't be able to go fishing later in the month for something else. So you've got to use it wise, use your quota wisely.
Will those fish survive?
Some will, some won't. It's just the way the game is. It's absolutely terrible.
But it's a terrible waste, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not something that obviously I'm happy about doing.
So how many do you reckon you throw back a month?
Quite a few tons at times.
Quite a few tons?
Yeah, trouble is, you can be fishing for soles, and if the skate are on the ground and you don't know they're there before you shoot, then you end up catching loads of skate which you've got to throw away.
But don't these rules need changing pretty damn quickly?
Absolutely. They don't actually reflect what fish are on the ground.
Do you think
a lot of the quotas are They're designed for fishing that took place 30, 40 years ago. And
But yeah,
moved on
we're hauling
since then.
nets and they're catching skates. And as I said earlier, fish do change over years. We've got an absolute explosion of thornback ray skates around the eastern part of England, and yet the quotas that are set annually in Brussels simply don't reflect what's out there. And when you think that boat with Eddie and his son on it, which is a boat that is just about 30 feet, just under 10 metres, when he says alone that boat is throwing back a few tonnes a month of skates, probably half of which are going to die and just rot on the seabed. There's something going wrong. And, for years we've had talk about discards, about the throwing back of dead and dying fish. But as I saw out of Ramsgate the other day, we're still discarding fish, aren't we?
There is a discard ban, but it's not enforced yet fully. The green groups are pushing hard for full enforcement, full CCTV monitoring, and one finds it quite hard to argue with them because it is the only way to stop discards with a quota system. But the fundamental problem is banning discards is banning the symptoms, not the cause, which is quotas. And it's a quota regime that's caused all these problems, and that's why we very stridently are pushing and have developed new UK policy that will be more environmentally friendly. It'll allow fishermen to have a better living and allow us to take that clean slate, because the discarding of fish is lunacy environmentally, because it's putting twice the pressure on the stocks it needs to happen. So we can't environmentally or economically afford to keep the common fisheries policy going. We can't afford to do it constitutionally either.
Well, I think Michael Gove, actually, who comes from Aberdeen, who comes from a family where his father was a fish merchant, I'm sure Michael Gove wants to do his best, and George Eustace represents a Cornish constituency, and hey, fishing's pretty big in that county. I'm sure they want to do their best. The trouble is, it looks like we're going to be trapped into a transition, and if we're trapped into that transition under the current rules we've got, we will see more of our commercial fishing boats closed. I think it's urgent that we leave the CFP as quickly as we possibly can.